about converting mixed numbers to improper fractions. As you know, a mixed number is a number where you have a whole number, like this, and a fraction stuck beside each other, combined. Okay, and if I want to change that to an improper fraction, it's not real hard to do. There's an easy trick, but first I want you to understand what it means. So, as you can see, a mixed number, like I was saying, has a number and a fraction beside each other, like we have here with 2 1/2. Now, another way of looking at this is how many pieces does it show that I broke each hole into? Well, I know that it broke each hole into 2 pieces because that's the bottom of this fraction. So each one of these sections is in, or total pieces is into 2 separate sections. Now, I have 2 holes, so here's one hole, here's another hole, and then I have a half of another one. So this is what 2 1/2 looks like if I were going to draw pictures of it. Another way I could think about it, if I didn't want to think about it as being a mixed number, if I wanted to think about it as just being a fraction, would be how many total pieces do I have, and how many of those pieces did I use? So I've already got this one down here in pieces. So I need to figure out how I can change the top 2 into pieces. Well, I've already divided this one into 2s, so I could just divide these others into 2 as well. And then if I looked at total pieces, I could say that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but I didn't use 6. How many did I use? I only used 5 pieces, so 5 total pieces were used. So 5 is going to go on the top, and then I'm going to think back in my head now. Remember, the bottom number in a fraction tells me how many pieces each hole was cut into. And how many pieces was each hole cut into? 2 pieces. So if I go to a new page, 2 1/2 is equal to 5 over 2. Because if I broke each hole into 2 pieces, I would need 5 total. So that's going to carry on into more than one piece. Okay, now there is a little trick you can use for this. The little trick that you can do, and I'm going to show you real quick, is what I call the check mark. A check mark like that. So if you have a fraction, the check mark goes through the whole number down to your denominator, or the bottom number, and then it goes up to the numerator. Now, fine, check mark, but what are you going to do with it? Well, let me show you what you're going to do. You have a fraction, and you're using the check mark method to convert it to an improper fraction. You're going to draw your check mark, and you're going to hit these 2 numbers first. First, you're going to multiply your whole number and the denominator. That's the first part of your check mark. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. Then, for the top part of your check mark, you're going to add the top number. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So that becomes my top number. I multiplied and then I added, and that becomes my top number. And the denominator, or the bottom number, stays the same. I don't even do anything with it. I just leave it alone. So I just move it right on over. And that's called the check mark method. I'm going to do one more example. 3 2/5. If I'm using the check mark method, I multiply these 2, which would be 15. I'll write it up here. And then I add the top number, which would be 2. 15 plus 2 is 17, and my bottom number stays the same. And that, my friends, is how you convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. Have a good day. Math is your friend.